Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Zodiac Bandit, and today we're going to be recapping episode 42 of Campaign 3 of Critical Role. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. So, the party find themselves after finishing Chetney's trial and are outside the temple, waiting around, putting their clothes back on after being a little naked. And Imogen messages Xandis on the ship to let them know where they are and that they are now done their trial. Laudna asks Fern to teach her some magic to hit multiple people at once, as she doesn't really have that right now, and maybe it can be fire magic. Orym is messing around with his new sword when Uther comes up to him and tells him he should probably give it a name. Orym isn't too sure what to name it. Uther pulls out his sword, which he called the Jaw Mangler, I believe, because he cut someone's jaw off with it. It was Jaw Mangler or Jaw Taker. Back over with Fern and Laudna. Fern teaches Laudna what it feels like to cast fire magic and tells Laudna to aim it at her, as she's good with fire. Laudna feels the fire and what it means and the history of fire, and then opens her eyes and blasts Fern with a fireball, and missed her with the fireball. Everyone hears this explosion and comes running, but they explain what happened. Imogen then casts Prestidigitation while she's above the tree line and shows Xandis where they are. Ashlyn goes to Annalyn and asks her if she can show them some of the moves that they did earlier. And they believe she was just showing off a little bit. The two of them spar, and she tells them that they are unfocused and need to focus in during combat. After a while, the sky ship rolls in. Ashlyn thanks Annalyn for her help with Chetney. FCG asks if anyone got any of the rabbit that Manad helped get earlier. Annalyn goes to Chetney and asks how he is doing. He feels good and inspired, but is also a little worried as he now understands what it means to lose control. Annalyn says he needs that, and he needs to understand that sometimes and to know when to let go of it. Chetney asks about Uther's past, as he's claimed earlier he was with the Cleric Order. He left a wound at his home, or what used to be his home, so it could no longer be his home, which is a very common thing amongst most of the group in the Gorgine. Annalyn reminds Chetney of how to improve runes. Manad goes up to Fern and tells her to tell everyone that he said good luck, and then tells her that they can come by anytime in a very flirtatious manner. Everyone climbs the rope ladder to the ship and are greeted by the crew, and they turn and head toward Eos. They see the temple as they are flying away, and also hear the Gorgine running back to their home village, howling as they go. FCG goes to the cook on the ship and takes the recipes and spices from Lord Esteros to make his cookies. And FCG watches the cook make them so they can learn to cook as well. They are now back on the ship, and the first day of travel commences, a calm day, and they fly over top a small city, Kuro, Matt and his goddamn names, they even call him out in this one, I'm glad they do. It is a small city that was effectively a military outpost during the Apex War. Xandis explains the city is one of many used in the Apex War to fight against the Stratos Throne as a defense point. Near the city is a large river, the Havilon River, which is leading in the direction they need to go. So Xandis says they will be following it for a while. The second day commences. Before any real travel happens, Orym goes to talk to Chetney. Chetney is cuffed up as to not go nuts during the night, and Orym unlocks him and gives Chetney the wolf he made that he first showed off during the giant wolf Chetney fight. He says he's glad he could help, and he's glad that Chetney is with the group. Chetney says Orym is young and brave, and the wolf is truly awful right now, and after some work and some time, it might become a paperweight. Which is a huge insult. That's hilarious. Chetney says it's the tools he's using, as the sword isn't necessarily the greatest for finesse cutting, and he gives him a proper tool or chisel to chisel away on some wood. Orym shows off his new sword and says the gods are watching And then he Spider-Man's Chetney over to him using his new vine abilities with the sword. Orem says the statue was glowing and changed his sword. Chetney asks if he felt a spirit within him. He says that the statue's sheath started to glow and he put his sword inside. Chetney says he should name it. Orem says he has named it. It is the Seedling. He has named it Seedling, the Wayward Pilgrim. The day of travel goes off pretty easily again, no problems. And at the end of the day, after nightfall, they reach the city of Eos. It is a 3-tiered city on a lake in the shape of 3 rings. They also see why Eos is the city of flowing lights. There is a glowing blue substance within the water, and as they arrive at night, it is the best time to see it. Xandis finds the correct skyport for them to land. It is the Lake Cap Skyport and Lounge. Before they land, Fern asks the question that I've been dying for them to goddamn answer, and that is, can sky ships be used as regular ships? Xandis says that they haven't done it themselves yet, but don't see why it can't be done. As they dock, the party think about what they're going to do next. Do they find a place to stay, or do they go into the city and explore a little bit? Before they can leave the skyport and get into the city proper, the port captain, Lyrios, asks the party why they're landing here, what they're going to be doing in the city, and how long they're going to be there. Imogen tells the port captain that they are here to learn at the seminary and will only be here for about a week at the longest. After that, they pay the docking fee, and Xandis takes them to the party lounge. Takes the party to the lounge. The lounge has music, conversation, food, gambling, all the works of a regular casino. There's about 20 people on this floor of the lounge. Imogen is having mind-reading problems, as it's been a while since they've been in a big city, and there are a lot of people around. The party see Imogen having a rough go of it, and Ashton asks if she wants a drink. She doesn't. She just needs to hang back, and worries about the fact that her mother might be in the city. The party tell her that they support her and will stand with her no matter what happens. Laudna is reminded to look at the orb to see if Otohan is nearby, but the orb is dark, so she's not. And they also question if Otohan found the thing or not. I'm assuming she probably did at this point. That orb just seems to be inert 24/7. So, especially because they went right near Bassaris. Something seems off about that. The party sees Xandis gambling already, and the party are now going to stay here tonight and gamble. Chet says if they gamble enough, they'll get a free room out of it. Laudna gets Imogen a table away from everybody. Orem looks about to see if there's any trouble to be had. All he sees is rich people gambling and talking, but with his strong smell, he smells a ton of cologne battling out against other colognes in the air. Ashton checks downstairs with FCG, sees it's packed, and then picks FCG back up and attempts to take them up to a less crowded area back to the top floor. But Fern stops them and leads them to look around a bit and get the lay of the land. FCG casts Detect Thoughts, and while they're walking around in the bottom floor, they hear about Stratos spies, the solstice, and the fishing trade of the area. Fern then goes up to a guard and tells the guard that she is new in town and wants to know what to watch out for to stay safe. The guard says keep your hand on her pocket and her purse, to not take the cheapest boat charter, as it's probably not the best one, and to not eat the oysters at this time of year. That's nasty. Oysters are nasty in general. Don't eat them. Fern then asks for directions to the seminary, as she claims to be a traveling professor and needs to get there. The guard tells her it's in the Dominion Ring. Fern also learns the other ring names. The Endeavor Ring, which is the business-esque ring, and the Venture Ring, which is the fishing and urban ring. Ashton then asks where in the city they can get a rough and tumble experience, and the guard tells them that this isn't a place of that kind of stuff. It is a place of learning. Laudna goes to Chetney with a plan to cheat because she wants the free room, I'm guessing. In some of the games that they can gamble in, Laudna can make Pate turn invisible, and she can look through his eyes and tell Chetney what she sees other people having. But the others say it's probably not a good idea to do something like that on the first day of being in a new city. Very true. The party all group up at this point and look for some games to play. There's 2 games on this floor. Griffin's Wall, which is 21 with dice. And if you don't know what that is, you get 2 cards. The total adds, you add up the total. If you go over 21, you lose. And if you are below, you can hit and try to get 21. But if you go over, you lose. That's simple. And then there is also Fork of the Storm. And this one is something else. The players and the dealer roll a hidden D8. They then make bets, raise, meaning they add more money to the pot, stay, which means they don't add anything and they're comfortable where they are, or fold and back out of the game. Once that happens, they then all roll a D6 out in the open for everyone to see, and then another round of bets, and then they add a D4 to this. The final round of betting is then done, and they reveal what the D8 is. And for any of the same number that they get twice or more than twice, they get to add a D4, and then again if they have another matching. So if they get a 4, a 4, and a 4, they get to add 3 more D4s to that roll, which could mean they're the winner, because the winner is the person with the highest total of rolls. So during the game, it is Chetney, Fern, and FCG as they play Fork of the Storm. FCG cast divination to ask for some help from the Changebringer, who tells them to fold, but they choose not to, and then roll bad and then back out the next time they can. Fern tries to change her D8 roll after she rolled it and is able to, but still loses to Chetney, as Chetney is a master of gambling. Next, everyone plays 21, except Fern and FCG. Chetney, Orem, Imogen, and Ashton all get 21, and Laudna gets 17, and the dealer busts, so all the players get 12 gold pieces each. FCG and Fern go to Freya, a dwarf who is the person in charge of giving out rooms, and they ask for the free room like Chetney recommended, and they're told that's not how it works. Freya tells them how much it is for the weekly rent or the nightly rent, and FCG and Fern pay this, but tell Freya not to tell Chetney that they paid for it. They then return to the group and tell everybody that they got it for free, just like Chetney said, but Ashton and Imogen see right through this lie. Once done with gambling, the party wants to go to their room and rest, but they're stopped on the way by a half-elven, half-orcish man. Don't know why I said it like that. Half-elf, half-orc man. He asks if they're from out of town, and when they respond with yes, they are, he tells them that's great, they're in luck, as he is from this town, and he is a host of sorts and can lead them around and inform them of this location, and lead them to work and potential deals for a fee, of course. He's Landon Kershaw. The party introduced themselves as Bell's Hells, a traveling circus, and with a nat 20 from Laudna, he fucking believes this. Orem uses his sword to shoot a vine up into the air and rope dances from it. Laudna uses pate for ventriloquism, which is the creepiest goddamn shit in the world to me. I hate ventriloquism. So gross. And Imogen is their mind freak. Some Chris Angel style shit. Don't know why they don't like Chris Angel. Like, what's the beef? Someone explain this to me. Because last time I checked, he was just cool. I don't know. I must be behind on something. The party question him a bit, and with Imogen casting Detect Thoughts, we see he's a massive goddamn liar. They ask how long he's been a guide for. He claims 5 years since he finished college. And in his head, we hear him laugh a little bit and says, in quotes, finished college. They then ask him what he went to college for. He says carpentry, which excites Chetney. And when he's pressed on this, he starts searching for words to prove that he does know something about carpentry, but we realistically learn he doesn't here. They say they'll think about it, and he tells them where they can find him when they need a guide. And then they all go to their room, and it's a big room. There's 5 beds, and each of them have a footlocker at the end of each. They order some food, a smorgasbord, and Chetney wants a shrimp platter that is 3 tiers big just like the city. FCG messages Freya and tells her that they'll pay anything, just get this thing up here and be quiet about it. Eventually they get their food and begin eating, and during the meal, Ashton asks about Pate and if he's, friendly and wants to talk to him. Laudna tells Pate to make friends, and Ashton says that while they were inside Laudna's head, they saw Pate's beginning, or the beginnings of Pate, and says that they all want to protect Laudna, to which Pate agrees, but Ashton notes that the weird timing of his creation, his new form's creation, and says if he is Delilah, he will murder him, or Ashton will murder him. Pate is unhappy with this, but Ashton says they'll make him a fancy hat, and all is forgiven pretty quickly. The party then go to rest for the day, and Chetney draws a bath for Imogen, as she's been very stressed and needs to relax. Instead of taking the bath, Imogen turns invisible and tries to sneak out the window. Very rude. Chetney went through a lot of effort to draw that bath for you. But Orm hears her as she is trying to leave, and sees her foot turn visible as she jumps out the window, and she tells him mentally that she'll be back. As she is falling from the tower window, she sees more of the city, but as she's falling, she casts Fly, and then starts to send messages to her mother. She tells her mother that she's in the city and wants to know if she is there as well. Her mother says it's good that she's there and she should stay there, as it'll be safe for her there. Her mother then messages her back, saying she needs to stop chasing after this, as everything that her mother has done to keep her safe isn't working because of it. Imogen says a storm is coming, and if her mother keeps running from her, Imogen will get swept up in the storm. Her mother says if she keeps coming for her mom, she'll get swept up in it as well, and she should turn and run from it. Run. Imogen doesn't answer, and then flies back to the rest of the party. The party choose to go to the seminary, as it has a lot of things connected to it that they need to investigate, and they get Landon to guide them there. On the way there, Landon explains a few things about the city, like who runs it, the Lambent Path, and who runs the free ferry service. It is somebody who is in charge of the Ferry Guild, named Sarah Budding. We learn more about the city's involvement in the Apex War, and that some buildings have been rebuilt over the last few decades, to which Landon says looks much better now. They then make their way to the Dominion Ring, and we learn of the seminary's rivalry with another conservatory, the Tatariline? God damn it, Matt. Conservatory. Landon leads them to the steps of the seminary, and the party pay him good money for what he taught them today, and he says he's going to wait for them with this money because it was $5 over his regular rate, and they begin to walk up the steps to the seminary, where they notice on a gargoyle is a creature making squawking noises at them, and it locks eyes with FCG and flies towards them, and that is where Matt ends the episode. So there you have it, episode 42, and I did skip over a few things that Landon teaches them, like more of the kind of population found within the city, deeper, rich knowledge of the Apex War, and a handful of other stuff like shop locations, etc., etc. But I felt like that stuff isn't necessary at the moment, because if it does become necessary, it'll be in the next episode or the episode after that. So that we'll talk about it eventually. But for now, I felt like just giving the important parts, like the rivalry with the seminary and the other conservatory. And yeah, sorry to skim over the last 30 minutes. But it's already long as is. So with that, I will see you guys on Tuesday with the next video. And then I will see you guys next Friday, which I think will be the second last video of the year. Doesn't matter. I'll see you guys on Tuesday for whatever video I choose to do next. Peace.